broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your #1 source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're tuned into AFTERBUZZ TV for Black Jesus, and I'm your host, Bamm Ericsen, and I would like to introduce to you guys. I told you last week that we had a very, very, very special guest. She plays the character of none other than Miss Tudi. Please welcome to the AFTERBUZZ studio, Angela Gibbs.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Oh my God, this episode. This was episode 5. This was titled Fried Green Tomatoes, and this was the funniest episode by far.
Oh, really?
Yes, everyone on Twitter was saying that this was by far the funniest episode. I mean, your character, Mrs. Tudi, was on fire.
I know. She turned it up. She turned it up this episode.
There was so many quotes that people were saying of yours and of Booney's character. Oh my God!
Like,
just
stop praying.
it was insane.
Yeah,
it was really insane. So let's just go into the show because we have a lot that we want to talk about. So the show opens up with Black Jesus and the crew. They're at the garden and they realize that the plants aren't growing as planned.
Not growing.
And so they're not growing as planned. And so then we see one of the workers coming to get one of the prepackaged salads.
Right.
Which, foretells about what's to happen later. And then the Mexicans arrive, and they arrive. And I love the banter between them and Fish.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I love Fish's character, too. And we laugh about it on the set a lot, that Fish and Miss Tudi, we're like this, because it's like he's ready. He's always ready.
He's always ready to turn
with
up.
His marble gun.
Yeah.
And I'm strapped with my gold pistols.
Yeah.
And I'm not playing.
Yeah. I really, really like that. So to see the banter go back in between that, and then Black Jesus says that he's short. And so the Mexican, one of the shorter one they were like, well, how short?
Right? Spider. Yeah.
They were like, well, how short are you? Short like him? Then he points to Trayvon, and Trayvon is like, I'm 5'8".
I mean, the writing is so genius. Mike Clattenburg and we know Aaron McGruder. When I first got the role and I was reading the scripts, and I was dying. And this is before I, ever came to the set, ever did any rehearsal, ever did any shooting. I mean, it's on the page.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, it's wonderful because then you can just take it from there and put your magic in it, if you will. When the ensemble comes together, there's like this magic that happens, but it's on the page.
Yeah.
But and I love that you've got this banner going with the Cholos and us because, there's going to be a point, and I can't really, disclose what it is, but, Jesus is always about us coming together. He's always about a message, but there's got to be a fight first.
But I like the fact when the banter going back and forth when they were saying how they didn't have the money yet for the rent. He says a promise from Jesus Negro. That's got to be worth a lot. And then he says, of course it is, fool. I'm your. This is coming from your eternal salvation. So, right. Even even in his language, he's always preaching the good word.
That's right.
He may say it in an unorthodox way, by saying, you know how it is, fool.
Yes.
Or
right.
Using curse words sometimes to get his point across. But one thing that you can't say about this character of Black Jesus is that he's always repping his pops.
Yes.
He
Yes,
represents
is.
for his pop.
And I don't know if people notice it. He never says hell no. He always says heavens no.
Yeah.
You know, there's.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, he's always saying heavens no. And but yeah, there's always this message, this through line. No matter what's going on, if he's smoking weed, he's cursing, but he's always laying down the word, and it's consistent. It's about love and forgiveness.
Always.
Always.
And so he agrees to give them a couple weeks for them to get their rent money. Now,
So they say.
So they say. But I thought that was interesting that they were just in a good spirit to allow them to do that. Now, this is prior to what we find out what happens later on in the episode.
Right.
But they were willing to allow that the rent be paid a couple weeks. Do you think that it has something to do with the fact that when they first made the deal and when he threw the rock at him and then he healed him, do you think it has something to do with, okay, well, maybe
There's something here.
There's something here.
going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first moment when they realize, okay, maybe this isn't a con man. Maybe this isn't a crackpot. There's something going on here.
Yeah.
And do we want to fool with it or not?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, no matter what hood you come from, there is kind of this, if you will, this sacrilegious piece that no one wants to be a part of, just in case God does exist.
Yeah.
And then, in the black community and certainly in the Hispanic community, there's a lot of religion. And so I wonder, even in their gang, they're kind of that gang mentality, do they really want to mess with Jesus Negro? But I also think that that was part of their game. Like, yeah, okay, all right, we'll give you 2 weeks. We'll see you later, because they really were plotting.
Yeah.
As we see later.
Yeah, as we see later. And so then Booney he's scared. He's scared to
all the time.
Yeah, he's scared.
And I'm tired of it.
But he's also scared because the crew does not have his mother's money.
Yes.
And so they don't know what Mrs. Tudi is going to say. So now they all arrive to Miss Tudi's house, and the first thing that she does is, of course, she blames Booney, saying,
Right.
I know because his father was always effing stuff up as well.
I love the cut. I love that he goes from, don't worry, I'm going to talk to your mom. She's not going to blame you. Cut. Shut up, Jesus. I know it's Booney's fault.
Yeah.
And so the writing is just really, again, it's genius. And I love that she's so hard on him.
I was going to say, why are you so hard on Booney?
I think, and I grew up with these women. I grew up in Detroit. I saw these women. And you would say, oh, my God, why are you so hard on your son? I think she thinks she's doing the right thing. She thinks it's tough love. He's at home. He doesn't have a job. He's not really handling his business with his kids. He's kind of, sort of. And you saw last week, he put $200 in their pocket, And so she thinks that she's being strong. She's a single mom now, so she's being the man. I got to be the father and the mother. And she thinks that that's the only way to get him on the straight and narrow. So in her mind, she feels that she's doing the right thing. It's just tough love, right?
Okay.
But at the other side of that, though, of course, and she doesn't realize that, by putting him down all the time, that's the hole that he's in. But if you look at her also, that's the hole that he stays in, because he's in a rut, because that's what it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If she keeps saying you're nothing, then he's going to think he's nothing, right? But that's this higher in thinking, if you will. I think in Tudi's world, for me, playing her, she does love her son very much. And you see in some episodes down the line that, she does show up for him. Even last week when he was, getting ready to go to jail, she showed up.
She did.
And she said, I'm not coming to visit you in jail. But she just wanted to make sure he was okay,
I see your perspective of women who wants to do the tough love. But I also think that when she looks at Booney, she looks at Booney's dad.
Oh, yeah.
And so therefore, because when she's looking at Booney, she sees the dad. She's more so taking out her frustration at Booney's dad, not more so than Booney himself.
Absolutely. It's both.
Yeah.
It's both. And absolutely, I'm glad you brought that up, because there is this disdain, when I play her, as a, actor, when I'm getting into her character, she's hurt. And we don't know really what's happened between her and Booney's dad, but there's something going on there, and she's angry. She's
Well, I don't know if you can reveal this info. I'll just ask. Will we see who Booney's dad is before the end of season 1?
No, no. But there is talk about if we have a season 2, and I hope we do.
Yeah.
There's talk about him showing up.
Okay, he absolutely has to show up. And,
He has to.
And I think because...
And let me say this. There's something you will learn about Booney's dad and Miss Tudi before the end of this episode.
Okay.
And you'll say...
Oh, you mean before the season?
Before the season, I mean. And you'll go, oh, okay. She's angry. She's hurt.
For season 2, I predict that when season 2 comes and when the dad character comes, I mean they're gonna have to pull out all the big stops. I mean they're gonna need like a top A-list black actor, Sam Jackson, not Lawrence because he's on a new show, but like a Sam Jackson, a Danny Glover. But someone who's somebody, they're gonna have to really pull out somebody to play this dad because there's so much hype about Booney's dad,
and it goes on,
and it goes
on
and
it's
on.
Not gonna stop.
And whenever you are referencing anything about Booney, you always have to bring up the dad.
That's right. That's right. Just like your father.
Yeah.
And there is this anger and this. You're right. You look at that child. You've seen it in homes where a woman has 2 different children by 2 different dads. She's nicer to one because she likes his dad and mean to the other one because she doesn't like his dad. In this case, poor Booney, it's only him. And she does not like his father.
I know.
And I don't know exactly what Aaron and Mike are cooking up in terms of all that's happened between them. But I do know that if you notice, I always think it's a hurt and an anger. That's what I'm going with anyway. If you notice with Booney though, he stays there. He and his boys are always at the house. They are always eating. So you can imagine they're eating their food.
Yeah.
They drive her hoopty.
Yeah.
Not an Escalade.
Right.
But they drive the hoopty. Nobody drives the Escalade. But so there is really a love there, and I think that she would be lost if Booney left.
I think she would too.
You
So okay, now going back to the scene. This is where you started dropping some of the funniest things. You said, you trying to tell me God can't grow no goddamn weed plant. Is that what you're saying? He made heaven and earth.
But he can't grow no goddamn weed. I'm sorry.
But his only begotten son can grow a weed plant to save his life. I can't believe I go to church every Sunday for this shit. You about to make a bitch lose her religion.
I didn't write it. I just said it. But I made it mine. There might have been a little bit of me in there. I don't know. But Aaron gives us and Mike gives us some freedom, but that's pretty much what was on the page.
What's interesting is church women say things like this all the time.
All the time, right.
About, when they get upset, they curse. Oh, forgive me, Lord. Oh, you about to make me lose my religion.
That's right.
Like,
sometimes they still have one foot on the church step. Yeah. They just came out of church.
Yeah.
I remember having to tell someone, okay, you know what, you still near the church. Why don't you just wait till we get in the car? Reading somebody. What does she have on? What that bitch have on? It's like, wait. Let's get away from the church.
Yeah.
So you see those women all the time. About to make me lose my religion.
Yeah, about to make me lose my religion.
I love it.
That was a hilarious line.
Well, because listen, they borrowed her money, then they lost it. Now they're back trying to borrow more money, and then she gave them money so she could get product, and now they don't have product. So she's like, what's going on? Tudi don't play that.
And also from a business perspective,
she's a businesswoman.
They don't have her money.
She's a businesswoman. And you will find that out a little bit later, too. I love that, you're going to see her as this entrepreneur, which I absolutely love. I love that Miss Tudi is this kind of raw, if you will, they say hood rat, I say hood queen, right? Who came up in the hood, never left. Has her little house. She just probably keeps fixing it up, all the time, adding a little room or something. She's got her Escalade, but she's smart. she, isn't necessarily a college educated woman, but she's street smart and she's an entrepreneur. And I love that they gave that to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking,
and a pistol.
Yeah. And speaking of the car, so then the Mexicans go and take the hoopty.
Yeah.
So now they go.
That was a sad day.
So now they go and take Mrs. Tudi's car. And so now, of course, Miss Tudi, she is pissed.
Yes.
She's pissed. Now, I caught something. I watched this episode a couple of times. So then the third time when I watched it, when Boonie's running out, Boonie says, "My mama had to sell her ass for that car."
Who told him to say that? What's wrong with him?
So I have to ask.
No, I didn't. Boonie's lying. That's all I want to say.
Okay.
No, I didn't sell nothing to get that car.
Okay.
And why are you looking at me like that? Huh?
Because maybe he said it, because like Miss Tudi didn't catch it. So what?
I'm just going to say that Boonie's lying. That's all I got to say about that. How about that?
So Miss Tudi's character wasn't fast. She wasn't a hold back on her.
What are you trying to do?
I just have to.
Say?
I have to ask.
Why? Why you have to ask?
Because he said my mama had to sell her ass for that car.
Let's just say that she has different, varying business transactions that she works out.
All right.
Okay.
There you have it.
There you have it.
There you have it. So
and
now,
I'm gonna hurt Corey when I see him.
Did you hear that part or?
No, I missed that. Sometimes, and this is what I love too, is because I'm in a show with these amazing comedians. You got Charlie Murphy, John Witherspoon. Oh my God, what a gem to have him in the show. And then Corey, and they come after me. If I'm in it, they're gonna riff, right? And I can't, sometimes I just like, ooh, I just want to, especially Booney, he wants to get me back every chance he gets, But, no, I didn't hear him say that. But I'm so glad now that I know. And yeah, go ahead.
My bad.
Yeah, you're in trouble too.
My bad.
Yeah. Okay,
well, let's go forward and let's talk about Vic. So now Vic has this meeting with his neighbors about wanting to. He informs the neighbors that there's weed growing into the garden.
He's a hater.
And so now he says that he has someone who's his right man, who's watching out, figuring things out, and of course is Lloyd. So now Lloyd goes to the community garden, and first thing Lloyd does is he starts sniffing around the food. He's trying to steal cucumbers and other things, and then he grabs the salad, and then Black Jesus go ahead and snatches the salad, but then tells him, hey, you can have it,
but don't steal it.
But don't steal it. What I also like, before I get back to Lloyd, it's a community garden. It's you can pay whatever you have. It's kind of like in church when they're doing
like
the whole offering,
or something.
When they say, hey, you know what, give what you can,
right,
and you'll be blessed. And I like the fact that Black Jesus says, hey, you know what, just give what you can. If you can afford to give something for some fruits and vegetables, then go ahead. But if you only have $2, hey, just give $2 and then just take what you need.
Right. And see, what I do too. And I think that, again, there's a genius, because even when he was saying, let's do the garden so we can grow our weed, I think personally, Jesus, the weed was definitely secondary for him. It was a second thought. It's like, that's what you all want. And, you keep saying, I got to pay, or you all got to pay for this weed. So, okay, this will please you all. But he really wants this community garden. That is his wish.
Yeah.
And it's the whole idea of communities coming together and growing their food. I just think, my son watches it. He watches every episode twice, right? And he told me today, he said, every time I watch, I just get something else. He said, this is so much, there's so many profound messages in this. And if you really are paying attention, I had some non-believers that have called me and said, okay, I'm converted now, because they see the messages in it.
And speaking of John Witherspoon's, just him being funny. So when he tries to take the salad, he says, "Community guard my ass," more like a selfish. I don't say the word. More like a selfish ninja. garden.
Ninja garden.
And then Black Jesus was like, you know, you really about an ungrateful mother, Blake.
I love
and you
Slink.
and you didn't even say thank you.
Right.
But it's like, you know, Lloyd is always coming around.
Yeah.
He's always coming around for one reason or another. He's a leech.
And here's the thing, too. Yeah, he's elite, but he's a smart one. He's smart.
Yeah.
You know, one thing about this role I love him in is that he's conniving. He's a line man. He's a lineman. He stands in line and sells his place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's finding ways to get in the bed, you know, finding ways to sleep on the couch.
He is an opportunist. He's very smart.
He's right.
He's very, very,
That's
very
right.
smart.
That's right. And a leech. You're right. But he believes in Jesus.
But he believes.
He believes.
And I know that you guys believe in us here at AfterBuzz, so I want to make sure that you guys go to iTunes, make sure you download, rate, subscribe, and tell a friend. And with the fall season coming up, we have so many shows coming. We have over 60 shows. So make sure that you guys go to iTunes, make sure you type in AfterBuzz TV, and you see all the different shows, past, present, and make sure you download, subscribe, and make sure you tell a friend. Okay, so now back to Black Jesus. So now, you guys pull out in the car. Now,
My hoopty.
yeah. So you guys.
Oh, you're talking about when we go after him?
Yeah, when you guys go
Yeah.
after him. Now, Miss Tudi, Fish, and Booney are in Escalade.
I love
And this was another hilarious scene. So Booney is scared.
No, I love the moment when I pull out that gun and say, Jesus has his way of doing things, I have mine. And then he's like, what are you doing? It's like, oh, of course, Booney's scared. You know, just like his father. You know, we're talking about his dad. But Booney, I think Booney wants to do the right thing. It's not that he's just scared. He's Jesus' boy. He's like, there's got to be another way. Maybe he's a little scared.
I also forgot to mention that once Lloyd leaves, then you guys go and you get the guns and you guys get ready to head off to do your mission. And then we cut back to now Vic. Vic is looking for Lloyd, and he pulls up on Lloyd, who's driving this little pink bicycle,
Right.
and he is high as a kite. He's got bubbles, he's blowing, he's doing all these kind of things.
Right.
And so Vic is like, what the hell is wrong with you? What did you take? Are you on something?
Right.
And so that was really the second sign where we obviously knew that there was something wrong,
Something
that
going
there's
on.
something
Right.
is not quite right. Which
Because first,
yeah.
the people that came with the woman that came back with her husband.
with her husband.
That's right. And
So-
now this is the second time.
So this is the second time now where there's something going on where people are getting twisted,
right.
you know,
Right.
with these vegetables.
Yes. Yes.
So now we go back to now you guys, Miss Tudi, Fish, and Boom. Another hilarious scene. You said, see, we ain't got special powers. I love Jesus and all. That nigga gonna be okay.
But I got bills to pay.
yeah,
See, I don't have
right.
special powers.
You know, because he got all kind of inferior powers, but hell, I got bills to pay.
Exactly. You like that, huh?
You know,
Just a little bit.
I have to be honest. When the show first came on, I kind of cringed. I was a bit taken back to hear you curse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in
A
the
woman?
time,
Is it because of a woman?
no, it's
or-
not. It's you personally, because in the time that I've gotten to know you since I did, you know,
nothing
the
like
episode,
that. That's
I've never heard you curse.
Right.
You don't gossip. Like, I don't see those things.
Yeah.
So when I'm hearing you say, you know, MF and Nick, so I kind of cringe a little bit because I'm like,
where'd that come from? Right.
like,
Yeah.
why? What? So, but I'm getting over it.
Okay,
But
I'm glad.
sometimes I still cringe to see you.
Just go there, right?
You go there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it's acting, really. It's acting. And I had to be coached, and I had to pull it up from a deep, deep place. It was so hard to find this. A friend of mine teases me, and he said, you know, that kind of rolls off your tongue real easy, you know. But you know what? I mean, of course, I wanted her to not just be this angry, crazy, loud woman. So I'm hoping that, you know, in all of that, you see some flavor and color and depth and what have you, because I really grew up watching some of these women. and we loved being at their house. And when they cursed, it was funny. It wasn't, you know, you almost liked being cursed out by them because, you know, it's sick, but it was like, you hear what she said, yo, come over here, little fast heifer, you know, and you're like, you know, for whatever reason, you just knew that that was their way of showing their love, you know. So it was almost like poetry, if you will, you know, hood poetry or whatever you want to, but yeah, it's just another language for her, you know. Just I think she grew up hearing it, and you know, it just rolls off her tongue. I'm sorry, you're gonna be okay though. I don't want to traumatize you.
I'll be fine. I'll be fine. But then after you give that whole spiel about how, you know, you got bills to pay, then you notice that Booney is in the back praying. And you said, what are you doing back there? Are you praying? And then you slap him.
That was a good one too.
And then you said, nigga, stop praying.
I know. Because you know why though, right? You
Why?
know, because when he prays, Jesus appears. And I don't want Jesus to know what I'm doing. Jesus don't want me to do this. So if he prays, he's going to call Jesus. I don't want that. You understand? And when we did it, it was funny because I slept. I hit him for real.
I didn't catch that. So every time he prays,
he's
Jesus
gonna pull him
show
in.
up.
He's going to pull him in. I'm like, don't do that. Because what happens?
Jesus showed up.
And then what happened?
And then you hit him.
And it wasn't my fault because I didn't want him to call Jesus. You see what I'm saying? Miss Tudi is innocent.
It's so interesting how you have to continue to watch the show in order to, because you miss so many things.
Right, yeah.
I never thought about that. Every time that Booney prays,
he's going to call him in.
That Jesus shows up.
Yeah, that's right. So that's why he pops up. And I hit him with the car, of course, because I didn't see him. I didn't know he was coming. And and you know, he's going to be mad, and I don't care because he's going to forgive me anyway, because that's what Jesus does. You know, I just love some of that, some of the wit behind that, you know.
He Booney's character also had another funny line that people were quoting on Twitter. So after you slap him and you're not paying attention, all of a sudden Black Jesus appears, and then you hit him. And so then Booney says, I'm going to curse, so just beware. He says, you done killed the motherfucker. He's supposed to die on the cross, not the Escalade. That line took me out. That line took me out.
And that was a Corey. That was he threw that one in.
I was gonna go back and try and look at the script to see that was in there, but
him.
I was like, that had to have been Corey.
That was Corey.
That was Corey.
It was Corey. And you know, the other thing is staying in character around him. And all of them really staying in character because it's funny. It's funny stuff.
It is.
He's quick.
Yeah. That line probably was the funniest line. Like I said, that line was when you hashtag Black Jesus. That quote was in
I love
that quote was in a lot of the tweets for the Black Jesus hashtag. Corey. That line was funny.
Corey.
Yes. Oh boy, that line got me. And then they're like, Black Jesus, are you all right? And then you say, he all right, he Jesus.
Get up, Jesus.
Like you're like your character just not like, yeah, you fine. Get your ass up.
You know, quit playing, right?
Yeah.
You Jesus.
You Jesus.
Right.
And he said, I ain't Superman. That shit hurt.
I love it. I know some good stuff. It's good stuff.
It is really some.
It's good stuff.
It's some really really good stuff. And I forgot to mention that before you guys actually hit Black Jesus, that you guys put your mask on, you got the guns, and there's literally this whole shootout. So then Fish goes to open the door, and the Mexicans now have changed the lock on the door.
Right.
And they they do some kind of bullhorn message saying, you know, it looks like you're trying to get your car without paying the rent. So now we got this whole shootout going, and at first Booney seemed a little hesitant, like he wasn't even shooting. At first it was you and Fish,
and then he was like a deer in the headlights. At one point we had to get him to get down,
and then
but he goes out like Rambo.
And then he went out.
Yes, he did.
Then he went out. He was
with that rifle. Yeah.
So that was just another great scene. What was that scene like to shoot and have guns?
We were so stoked. That was the night. And we did it in the middle of the night. And that was the night that we had the earthquake. And everybody on the set felt it except us. We were
Was that the earthquake that was it happened twice? It
Yes.
was like 8 o'clock and then like 8:04, 9:04.
It was, yes, exactly.
Okay.
So, well, because what time were we there? Well, we were there till like 2 in the morning. So I
Okay.
guess it must have happened around earlier than maybe, not as late as I'm thinking.
Yeah, I do recall there was a couple earthquakes during the time
That we did it,
Yeah,
right?
because you guys shot that in
I
March.
thought it was later for some
Yeah.
reason, but
could be, yeah.
maybe because we were just out there
Yeah.
for a long time. But everyone felt it, but us. That's how stoked we were. We were wired, you know, and part of it is also the choreography. I
Yeah.
mean, they make sure that everything is safe. So we had to go off and shoot, and just really make sure we knew what we were doing, and
Yeah.
and the safety was, definitely paramount, and it was, priority. And
So you guys shot that on the Paramount lot?
no, I'm just saying paramount. I mean, it was
yeah.
necessary,
Gotcha.
important,
Yeah.
we so they had us go shoot in the there was a parking lot, and kind of get an idea.
Yeah.
And then we could have ears, stoppers if we needed.
Yeah.
And we didn't, because I kind of wanted just all that craziness. I wanted to.
So
hear
when
it
you
and
guys
feel
are
it.
shooting, you can actually the gun, the sound. So you guys are just shooting blanks and
Yes,
Gotcha.
right. And so they'll give you little cushions to put
The
in
little
your
cushion
ears.
to put, yeah. Uh-huh.
But I don't think any of us used them, really. We just wanted to be in it. And so there's this kind of like this choreography. You shoot, you bend down, make sure you bend down.
Yeah.
Then there's like the squids in the back that are going to pop out
Yeah.
of the wall. And so you want to make sure you're not standing up during that time. And then they're going to shoot at you. There's going to be things that pop off the car. Then you get back up and shoot again. So it's really choreographed. So you got a lot you're thinking about while you're delivering lines,
Yeah.
right? And a couple of times our gun wouldn't go off, so we
Yeah.
had to get that worked out. But it was, so that's probably why we didn't feel the earthquake, because we were like, okay, get out of the car, run, shoot, get down, get back up, shoot, okay, get down. We
Yeah.
were like, and then still be in the moment and make it all work.
Yeah.
But we were pretty wired. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So then once Black Jesus gets up after you guys hit him, then he says, Miss Tudi, girl, I got something to show you. So now we go back to Miss Tudi's house, and so now you actually taste the fried green tomatoes. And
I get buzz.
and then
Just
you
like I
get
my
buzz.
AFTERBUZZ.
Yeah, right. You get your AFTERBUZZ. And so then you realize that there's the vegetables
Right.
miraculously has weed in it.
That's
Or
right. Or
marijuana,
something.
or something in it to
Right.
make people feel high.
And this is the thing. We never say it's weed in the tomatoes.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So, because she asked, what's in?
Yeah,
what's
you did
in it?
ask. Uh-huh.
And he says it's God's love and kindness,
Mm-hmm.
and we never know. I mean, it's never explained, so that's something that the viewers have to kind of
Mm-hmm.
decide for themselves, because we know that the weed didn't grow.
Yeah.
So, what is this? Is
Right.
it a miracle?
Yeah.
What is it?
And I liked how once you had the high feeling, then you went back to believe in Jesus, and you were like, "Oh, Jesus,
And I
you're
was
my
nice
savior."
to my son,
And you
too.
were very
Did
nice
you
to your
notice
son.
that?
You did. You told him you loved him.
I did. Okay, can I be exonerated, please?
Okay, well,
Thank
for
you,
five
Mama.
for 5 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's
But
gonna
you-
turn around. You're
right,
right.
You did recognize that you did love him. So that's a good point. You're right. It was never mentioned that there's weed,
Ever.
you
Right.
know, in
That's
the
right.
in the tomatoes.
That's right. And
But
she
it is-
asked,
yeah.
but we've never gotten.
And it was never, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's one thing that is not going to be established. You're going to have to really think that through. You
Yeah.
know, the audience is going to have to decide, what is it? Was it crossbreeding? Was somehow the weed in there and we just don't know it? But Jesus keeps maintaining that it's God's love and kindness, which
Yeah.
I think is pretty amazing.
Let's go into the final scene. So we're back at the garden, and so now Trayvon says that there are customers waiting, and you're like, "Oh, just let them in."
Right.
And Trayvon says, "No,
Yeah. Not what you thinking.
yeah, not what you thinking." And so you have,
There you are.
and then you have me. You have a bunch of us potheads who are at the gate.
Right, like, give me the vegetables, give me the vegetables.
We're
That's right,
chanting.
that's right.
What were we chanting? We were chanting.
Weed? No, I don't know. What we
What were we chanting? We were Jeez, I forgot what we were chanting, but we were chanting something in reference to how we wanted. Oh, we were the salads.
Salads, right?
We were chanting the salads, and so then so Miss Tudi's like, get rid of them, get rid of them, get rid of them, and so we asked for we asked for the weed. I think I said, where's the weed at? And Black Jesus was like, that sale from yesterday, we're not selling anymore.
Right, we don't have no weed here.
Yeah. And so now you guys have to go. And so then you have the you have Lloyd and Vic who are now with the protesters.
Yeah, haters.
So now we have them, and they're chanting, no Colton Compton, no Colton Compton.
Right.
And so now they come up, and then you have the Mexicans come up.
Yeah.
And then from there, then you have the cops arrive.
It got major, didn't it? It got pretty major.
It got pretty insane, and then they bring in the dog, who I thought was pretty brilliant how they named the dog Snoop.
I know. I know.
They named the dog Snoop, and then he goes in.
Right.
And Miss Tudi and Black Jesus told Trayvon, Booney, and Max to go and get rid of it.
Right.
So by the time the dog comes in, there's no sight of it, and it's clear.
No plants, that's right.
Because the Mexicans come in, they're thinking because now you're selling weed, it's now the rent's
getting ready to go
now
up.
the rent's now $1,200, not $600.
That's right.
And so that whole scene was
pretty major.
It was pretty major. It was really fun to film.
Yeah.
Because literally the entire cast was there except for Antoine, Antoine Tanner and Valencia. They were the only two cast members.
Oh, that weren't there that's right. Oh, Valencia didn't come that day, even though she's a cop. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
that's right.
So they were the only two characters that weren't there. So for me, it was just great to be around, to see everybody, and to just, see
the mechanics of how it all works, too.
Exactly.
And Mike is an amazing director because he shot those 10 episodes, pretty, pretty fast. And he didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
And his collaboration with, it's wonderful as an actor to watch he and Aaron collaborate because they'll come together sometimes, and Aaron will have an idea about what's going on, and and of course they wrote it together, and but they also give us a lot of latitude as well. But they're very clear about their vision, and so the vision is here, and we can kind of play in there, and of course I think it's wonderful, especially when you have comedians, the kind of talent we have, because then they bring their magic and their brilliance with them.
They do,
and they just keep kind of shepherding it.
Mike actually gave me some lines. He fed me some lines that he wanted me to ad lib after we finished doing a couple of takes. There was the rude and we want the bomb salads. That was all something that he
came up with.
That he came with.
That's
and
right.
It's like, I want you to say these lines. I was like, okay.
You're like, thank you. Yeah, I will.
Sure.
That's
why
right.
not?
That's right. Okay.
I went from
let me think about it.
I went from one line to
like 3 or 4. Right.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
right. That's right.
So I thought the episode was. I just thought it was a great episode, and so then after everyone disperses, they're all obviously Vic and Lloyd are coming back because they are not convinced. They still think that he's a con man,
right?
And the whole point of the episode was miracles happen, is what Black Jesus said. He says miracles do happen.
That's right.
And when you think about it, you had something that was giving these people a high.
Yeah.
Didn't say what kind of high it was.
That's right.
And then
in a sense, if you see the woman that came with her husband, she
said
he hasn't smiled.
Yeah.
So we do know what kind of high it is. It's
Yeah.
it's for people are happy.
Yeah.
You see Lloyd, he was a little crazy.
Yeah.
Well, you can have too much, I guess, tomatoes too. But
and then you were happy. You were being positive.
I was being positive, loving my son.
So who's this? You're right. It wasn't weed. It was a happy high.
That's right.
Happy high, Holy Ghost high.
Yeah. That's right. Hallelujah high.
I want to talk about you and your character. So what was the process like? How did you
start working with her?
Yeah. What made you? How did you? How was the casting process for Miss Tudi for you?
The casting, that was really an interesting story. I read for the role, and unlike most casting sessions, the star is usually not in the room. But Slink was there. I love Slink. And Slink was there from day one. So my first audition I read with Slink. And then I got a call back. And I couldn't go. I was doing a reoccurring character on the ABC show, The Fosters. And I was like, man, you know, I really like being on that show. However, I just wanted to do this, you know. And so I sent a message with my agent sent a message that she really, really, you know, really loves this show. Is it, can she come the next day or whatever? But they said no. So that was around October. And December, I hear from my agent, and they said, you know, Black Jesus Project, you know, they still want to see you. I'm like, oh, I thought it was gone, right? And so they set up a time for me to come, and I went in, and I, you know, really, it was the scene that you just saw, where I was in the car, and the whole shootout. And it's the line, the audition, the line starts with, see Jesus, that nigga gonna be okay, because he got all them infinite. That was the scene, right? And then we do the shootout, what have you. And I was thinking, I wonder if they're gonna want me to really shoot a gun. You know, in some auditions they don't want you to go that far. But I just decided I was gonna be prepared to go all the way. And so when I walked in, I asked them, I said, now, they said, well, you can go ahead and read. And I said, well, doesn't this scene take place in the car? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, you know, pull up a chair. So Slink was in there. He pulled up a chair. He sat behind me. And he read Fish's part and Booney's part. And I went for it. And Amber, the casting agent, I love her. She still laughs today. She said, you came to get that role, because I was rolling around on the floor. I was shooting guns. I was miming my gun. But I mean, I went all the way there, you know. And they said that when I walked out, she said, well, one of the producers said to me, too, before you got to the elevator, they were like, wow, that's her, you know. So, you know, it's a dream come true, really. It is. I was ready. I came to get that role.
that is awesome. Now, for those who are not familiar with Angela's background, Angela's mom is a TV icon. Her mom's a TV icon. If you've ever watched The Jeffersons, or if you ever watched 227, Marla Gibbs. Florence Johnson as a nosy maid. Jeffersons,
Mary and the 227.
Jeffersons ran from 1974 to 1985, and then 227 ran from 1985 to 1990. So your mom's a TV icon. She was on 2 popular sitcoms that spanned it over, you know, the 70s, 80s, and the 90s. So what did your mother say when she saw her baby cursing?
I know.
On
and
Black
using
Jesus.
the N-word and all that good stuff. You know, my mother loves the role. She loves it. And, you know, I don't know, we'll see. Second season, we get a second season, you know, we might see her pop in there. You know,
that was my next question.
There's some talk about that.
So
we'll see.
If there's a season 2, which I believe there will be a season 2.
I hope so. I believe it too.
The numbers are great. So
they are great.
I do believe that there'll be a season 2. So if there's a season 2, then your mom Marla would play your mom. That would be great.
She would be the only one that could tell Miss Tudi to shut up.
Yeah, I would. I can.
And I'm gonna have a problem with that, you know. And then we both were laughing because Corey, he couldn't wait to meet my mother because he wanted to tell on me, like I haven't already told her, you know, I beat him up, right? Because we talk about it. I tell my mother, we always share what's going on in our lives and, you know, the role and what have you. So she was laughing already. I said, Mom, now I want you to get ready for this because I'm cursing and, you know, I'm acting up. And so I would tell her, you know, today, you know, this happened or that happened. And she's like the only person I really, you know, because you were not really supposed to share anything. But I, you know, would talk with her. And she was cracking up. And so she loves it. But again, I know I'm from Detroit. I grew up around some of these people. They were her sisters and friends and what have you. And then she grew up in Chicago. And what she did was when she did Florence, she channeled the people she grew up around, you know, like an aunt and a grandmother. And of course it was her flavor, her color. But it came from a real place. And You know, and as actors, we do have to I mean, I don't care what role we do, we always find a personal connection.
Yeah.
And so that you can kind of, you know, breathe some humanity into the character. So that I'm hoping that with this character that you'll love her, you'll hate her, you'll laugh, but you'll see her as a whole person, right? Who's conflicted and you know, imperfect and all that. And so I pulled some people that I grew up with, and she knows who those people are, you know. So we laugh about it. So
your career is pretty freaking amazing. Your career started in the 70s. You were on Sanford and Son.
I was. That was my first TV. That was my first job was Cleopatra Jones. That was the first job ever, and we were talking about that today, discovered. Someone teased me, they said, you were discovered. But I was in a play in Watts with Roger Mosley as the director. My mother was on the stage as well. And a guy named Max Julian was doing a movie called Cleopatra Jones. Vanetta McGee, he had written it for her, and they wanted someone else. Tamara Dobson played it. But because he didn't get to have his woman in the lead, they gave him other perks, and he was able to choose me. And I got a call. I was working at a boutique, and I came in from lunch, and they said, you got a movie. Somebody just called you from Warner Brothers. I mean, literally. Wow. That's how I started. So I got this movie, Cleopatra Jones, and then the next job was Sanford and Son. And that was and Stan Lathan was the director, and it was amazing. It really was. I got to meet Flip Wilson on that set because his set was right next door.
What's also interesting is because your career expanded, you started off in a time where you had all these great comedians. You had the Red Fox, you had the Richard Pryor, and you know John Witherspoon also comes from that school, and he's kind of like the last of that
OG kind of comedic.
And so it's really great to see, you know, the fact that you also started off in that time, and for the fact and to see you and John actually working together, I think is really great because you guys come from that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, from a generation where, you know, we're missing out on a lot. Like I watch all the old shows because you know my family, so I'm very familiar with, you know, Sanford and Son, Good Times, Jeff. I'm familiar with
writing back then.
Yeah, I'm really familiar with all those, but today's generation, they're not really familiar with that, so they don't, you know, they're missing out on a lot of history because of that, and the fact that, you know, you are able to be a part of that in the 70s, and now you're a part of this new generation of this Black Jesus. I think is really great.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, Bam. That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. You know, like the OG comedians, I call them. They told stories. And not that cursing, because we do a lot of it on this show, is it's just that when it becomes the joke all the time, and there's no other story or there's not an act that surrounds it. And I think what's wonderful about some of the John Witherspoons and Red Foxes, they told stories. Richard Pryors, there was cursing in it, but they always had a beginning, middle, and an end. They had a show, you know.
And then I also want to just acknowledge you've been on some really popular shows. You were on Desperate Housewives, and then you were also in Scandal.
That's right, the judge.
Yeah, you were the judge, and you were in Drumline.
Yes, Nick Cannon's mom.
Which is like a cult classic in the urban community.
Yeah.
And then I also want to talk about your new stuff. So you are in Straight Outta Compton, the NWA movie.
I am. I got to work with the F. Gary Gray. I love working with him. You know, sometimes when you are just there for a day or two or whatever, you don't get a lot of connection with the director because they're dealing with the big stars and etc. But he was right there and just made sure that we got what we needed and he got what he needed, right? And so I play Ice Cube's mom,
George
and I
Jackson.
got to play with his son. I got to play his son is playing him, as you know.
How was the audition process for that?
What happened? I went in. Oh, that's funny. I went in, and basically the scene. I'm watching my son and some other youth being arrested. I come outside, and I realize my husband. I come outside, and my husband was wonderful. And anyway, we see that our these kids are being harassed, and then I realized that one of those kids is my son. And you know, growing up in LA, and I am a mother and a single mother, and I have a son. You know, that wasn't new to me, right? And so I brought that on in to the audition, and the scene or the audition really, the scene is about the policeman telling me to step back, or he's gonna make my night bad, you know, and I think I was supposed to step back.
But you didn't.
But I didn't, you know, and I stepped back just a little bit. So she walked up on me again, the casting agent, and I stepped back again just a little bit. And then I started mouthing off a little bit, like this is my property. And she says, okay, I guess everybody's not afraid of the police. And we laughed about that. But the truth was, that's my son over there. I'm not walking in the house. You're not going to make me walk in the house. There's something about being violated that creates a rage that you have to suppress and sit on, but you do know your rights. And, you know, I'm not going to turn around and walk in the house and let you harass my son. And I think that's what F. Gary Gray did, because on the all callback, he was sitting in there with the producer, and I just did the very same thing, and he just smiled. So I think the next thing you know I got it. So obviously it was what he was looking for.
Have you finished filming all your scenes?
Yeah, I'm done. And I was just there that day.
Okay, so we won't see much. We just see...
You'll see me in the when he's young, and he's getting harassed by the police, and where Cop Killer and all those things kind of really germinated from.
Gotcha. You have had a awesome year. So you have a #1 TV show.
I know.
Then you had a #1 movie. You had Think Like a Man 2, where you played...
That's right. Regina Hall's mom.
Adele.
That's right.
So you've had a great year.
It's been a good year.
And then next year you have Straight Outta Compton
coming up. That's right.
You know, coming up, and then I'm gonna just say it. I believe there's gonna be a season 2.
I do too.
So far,
It's been good.
Yeah.
It's been good. It's been good. I've had some other things going on that are not in front of the camera, but working on a feature that we're packaging and got some nice attachments to that. And then I've had the amazing opportunity to work, I coach as well, and to work with the Alejandro Inarritu. You know, he did Birdman and Babel and 21 Grams. So I'm doing some work with him up in Canada on with some of the actors. And I have to pinch myself sometimes. Life is just really, really good. And I saw something once on, if I can share this with those who are in the business or thinking about getting out of the business. You know, it's a business of peaks and valleys. And there are times when you wonder, should I stay? Should I go do something? And I've done other things. I've written for CNN. I've done other things because I was raising a son. So, but I saw something on someone's email, a little quote, and it said, if you stay in line, your turn will come. And I think just being in line and just loving what I do and just staying in this lane has given me the opportunity to now, all those things I've learned in other areas. I used to work with youth and use drama to teach. It said all those things are kind of coming together now, and they inform everything that I do. And I guess I say it's harvest season right now, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the community garden, the Hollywood garden, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will go into predictions, and then we're going to wrap the show up.
Okay.
So.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Okay. So, my prediction. I've said this. I say this constantly about how Vic and Lloyd have this weird relationship where they're eventually becoming friends due to the fact that they need each other.
Yes.
And so we're going to continue to see how Lloyd is going to do whatever he can to ensure that that Vic does not leave him. So
interesting.
So I like the dynamics of that. I like how we're seeing all the different characters evolve. So we know Boonie's story, we know Jason's story. So now I feel like it's Fish's, and now it's time for Fish, and it's time for Mags.
Right.
And Trayvon. So I feel like something is about to transpire between all of that, all while trying to figure out. Now I am curious now that this community garden is it's here and it's ready. I'm wondering, will they continue to sell it, or will, I'm not really sure how that's going to go, but I know that there has to be more with the community garden.
You pay me a little fee, you know, Miss Tudi, I might give you a little tidbit. No, for real.
Is there
I can't tell you.
I was going to say, is there anything you can tell us about what, if you don't.
Well, you know, we have to, you know, because we want people just to watch and tune in and see what's happening. But I will say that your predictions are somewhat accurate.
Okay.
And the community garden, well, you know what happened to Jesus, you know, and in terms of the non-believers, etc.
Yeah.
So there's more challenge and more battle ahead for him.
Okay.
And all of us in the community garden. And I will say that that we all have our own revelations as a result of him being in our lives. That's about all I'll say.
Okay, well, fair enough for me.
It's gonna be good.
I
It's gonna be
totally
good.
understand. I had signed papers. I couldn't tell anybody
You can't tell
about
about
it.
anything.
I couldn't tell anything, but
Let me just say this:
yeah.
if you think that scene that we were in together was
Yeah.
big, you know, you got to keep watching because it's gonna just keep turning up until it's like, you know, huge.
Okay.
You know, that last episode is like, wow.
I totally look forward to it, and I just want to give a shout out to the cast and crew.
Yes.
You know, thank you for the opportunity. As you see, I'm wearing my Black Jesus sweatshirt that they gave us at the rap party. So thank you guys so much. It's been a true pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
You, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And so let everyone know where you can be found on social media.
So I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter, and what else? That's it.
Do you know your name?
Oh, well, it's under Angela Gibbs, but I'm gonna do an artist page because now I have over 5,000 followers. So people are telling me they can't get on. So that's getting ready to happen. Okay. But it'll be Angela E. Gibbs.
So Angela E. Gibbs on Twitter and Facebook, where you can look for her. You can also look for me on social media at Bamm Ericsen. And you can also find me this Tuesday coming on the Tosh.0 network. I'll be in the latest episode for that. So make sure you guys check me out for that or follow me on Twitter for that information. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode here at AfterBuzz TV for Black Jesus here on AfterBuzz TV. Thank you again. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for watching.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.